2006. Since that time, I have created several ordinances that will improve the quality of life of the citizens of Ward 4 and the citizens of Madison. One ordinance was notification of a foreclosure filing. That when a house is in foreclosure, gets foreclosed by a bank or mortgage company, that bank or mortgage company has to appoint someone to take care of those homes. As we all know, in Ward 4, many homes are foreclosed upon and then they're just left there. Grass is high, people are busting out windows, so I did introduce that ordinance. I introduced sidewalk and curb replacement ordinance. That was a 40-page ordinance that I completed on my own. And that is to assist homeowners with sidewalk and curb repair. Unfortunately, I was told that many people did not utilize that program, so I was able to persuade the administration to at least to install some sidewalks in Ward 4. And you would know that there is sidewalk on the north end of Walnut, right by the wooded area. Those are new sidewalks, so our kids can get out the street and actually walk on the sidewalk. As council president, some people believe as a council president you cannot create ordinances. That is untrue. As council president, when I was elected, I immediately implemented audio recording ordinance that would allow individuals to go on to our website and click each council meeting, and they can actually hear the council meetings. Unfortunately, due to financial constraints, we can't implement that just yet. Also, as council president, I implemented the Precious Memory Roadside Memorial. That would allow individuals who have lost friends or family members in accidents to memorialize them, and you see them on Walnut and Lincoln Way off the freeway there. But once there is a complaint, we have 30 days. Within that 30 days, those memorials are removed. And all of these ordinances came from the people of Ward 4 and the people of Madison. I just didn't sit back and come up with these ideas. Currently, I'm working on a new ordinance. I'm working on a new ordinance. It's criminal nuisance activity ordinance. And we all can agree, some of us can agree more than others, is that we have certain homes in our neighborhood, the police are always there. There are always issues with certain individuals in a home. You know, they're causing trouble in the neighborhood. They're harassing neighbors. This particular ordinance that I'm working on will actually, after so many calls, that the police can designate them as nuisance, and then they can notify the landlord to do something about that. And if they don't, they will be fined, and the fines will be assessed to their property taxes. However, they will have ample opportunity to address the issues with that home. So it's time to clean up some of our neighborhoods. But once again, I'm Tony Townsend. I'm running for Ward 4. Take me going back years. I'm running for council president to retain the seat. And if anybody knows me, I have always invested my time and energy to improve the city of Madison. And it's evident by the ordinances that I created myself. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Yes, our next candidate is Claudette. I'm sorry. Isaac.
Hi, my name is Claudette Eisnick. Some of you know me from Washington High School. I taught high school math there for 35 years. I was Ward 3 council from 2000 to 2004. I presently run a driving school for the Madison AAA. This is my 10th year. I was in the Army Reserves for 3 years. I have a wonderful husband, John, 3 wonderful children, and 3 grandchildren. My son was an officer in the Marines. He served before Iraq. It's kind of hard to beat what Tony just said. He did some wonderful things here for Madison. My first time I met Tony when I started coming to council meetings, he walked in and he came up to me and took my hand with both of his and said, "Mrs. Eisnick," he said, "it's really a pleasure to meet you." That was very nice. I really appreciate that. And I said, the pleasure's all mine. He's a good man. I'm running for council. I'm a very active person and I like to stay active. I miss being part of something in the community. So I'm putting my name on the ballot to give people a choice. I think every position should have a choice for the voters. If they want a different person, fine, vote for me. If you're happy with Tony, fine, vote for him. I have nothing against Tony. He seems like he's doing a bang-up job, but I think people need choice. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're going to go with our councilman at large. First, I'd like to have Mr. Lewis, Ed Lewis.
Hello, thank you all for having me today. I am Ed Lewis. I am currently serving on City Council my second term. I represent the 6th Ward. The easiest way to tell you about the 6th Ward, what I always say is, it's the far west side of Massillon, so just drive west. The minute you think you left Massillon, you actually just entered the 6th Ward. We're out there by the middle school, Westfall School District, and obviously Massillon School District as well. I also, during the day, I work for the Stark County Board of Developmental Disabilities, help write plans and assist people in need to receive the funding and the services that they require in order to live a healthy life. I've also served as a pastor in our community for 4 years. I served as a senior pastor at Wellspring Community Church of God on the west side, and I was their associate pastor and youth pastor before that. Served about a total of 10 years within that church community. While I've been on the city council, I have done a few things. I have become the chair of the finance committee most recently. As the chair of the finance committee, the budget, anything that has to do with any kind of spending or expenses, revenues, whatever may happen, has to come through my committee, receive the approval of the committee, and then be presented to the city council. As such, we've been able to keep a balanced budget. We've been able to reduce the deficit and eliminate the deficit, so that now, before where we have a carryover from 1 year to the next, which would start you off in the hole, we've been able to eliminate that. We've been able to find ourselves in a healthy position on paying back our debt, a position that inspires growth instead of struggling. I've also been fighting for better road repair in our city, as all of us have seen that it's a major issue wherever you go in the city. And you'll see, if you were ever to listen back to those tapes that Tony helped make a reality, or a process make a reality, you'll see that anytime we talk about budget, anytime we talk about money, I'm one of the champions that are constantly talking about, let's make sure we take care of our roads, let's make sure we take care of our infrastructure. Last year, one of my surprise accomplishments that I really celebrate is I found out that the police officers, their vehicles were in horrendous condition. They were falling apart. We had them not operating. I had one officer tell me that he had to go to a call on 12th Street on the west side, dead end street. He goes in, he calls, it's just a noise complaint about a party in the backyard. He goes in the back and calms everybody down. Everybody's very agreeable. He goes back into his car and the reverse will not engage. So he had to go back to that party and ask the very people that he was called on to push his car while it was in neutral so he could return around. That was unacceptable. I met some resistance in the city, but we continue to fight. Some of my fellow council members got on board with me. We bought him 2 new cruisers that year. While I was doing that, I was complaining that we did not have a comprehensive vehicle replacement program for this city that was going to be able to fight this issue for our officers, for our firemen, for our paramedics. Next thing I know, a couple months later, we have a comprehensive vehicle replacement program being presented to council. I like to believe I had a part in it. I also know that when I first ran for city council, I had some complaints about some of the other services in the city, the cost of, say, trash removal, things like that. We investigated it. Now we do have some different trash removal options. We were able to retain the small business. If the small business owner wants to be involved in trash removal, we left that go. I believe every person has the right to start a business and operate the best way they can. But I also believe in offering opportunity to our citizens to get the best rate they can. When we did that, Kimball came into our city. We reduced the rate of the trash from $18.75 a month to about $11.33 a month now. And that will retain in place probably well into 2020. We're going to save millions of dollars of citizens for that while adding and reducing the cost of the city. These are some of the initiatives that I've done, some of the things I've been involved in. I would love to be able to serve all of you in that capacity, and that's why I'm running for at-large. I did my piece as a Ward 6 councilman. Now I want to represent the whole city, hear from all of you, not just my Ward 6 constituents, and start to get some of your feedback and start to work hard for you. I've been out there congregating and knocking on doors, trying to meet people. I haven't met you yet. Please make sure I get a chance to shake your hand tonight. I want to meet you, get to know you. You can grab some of my literature, my business cards. It's my cell phone on that. You can reach me anytime, day or night. I'll call you, I'll talk to you, call you back.
Next person running for councilman at large, Mandy Pond.
Hello, my name is Mandy Pond, and I have not served on council just yet. I'm hoping to do so and to help all of the citizens of this fine community. I am currently fully employed at the Maxwell Museum as the archivist, and I've worked there for 11 years. And every day I get to preserve our community's history and present that in fashion. It is always free and open to the public, so I think that that is very, very important for people to come and indulge in finding out where our community came from. I also go out and lecture to adults, school children, and college students about various historical topics, trying to share some of that history in the classrooms, as well as helping people to find the research that they need for their paper, maybe find their family, find a photograph of their house, those kinds of things. I volunteer on the Historic Preservation Commission that maintains our historic downtown as we try to maintain a nice historic look so that we can invite businesses into our downtown and make it accessible for people to walk and actually enjoy places to eat, places to shop, and keep those people coming back with their dollars in our city. I also serve on the Charity Roach School of Kendall Foundation. We give scholarship monies to various organizations such as Start State, RG Dreg, and other organizations that meet the criteria of a fund that was set up more than almost 200 years ago. So 200 years later, we are still giving away money that was set up by one of the founders of our city. I own a small business. I do photography on the side. I am a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and I'm fully invested in the city. I own a home here. I own my business. Seeing the history every single day from behind the scenes and being able to participate in school tours and lectures, I'm really passionate about this city. So while I haven't had the chance to do some of the amazing things that Ed talked about, he's been able to do for council, I believe that with a fresh perspective and the passion that I have, that I can represent you to the best of my abilities. So, thank you.
All right, our next candidate for councilman at large, Robin Bloom.
I'm not a big fan of getting up and talking to people, so I'll start on president of the Walden Neighborhood Association. I've been president of the Walden Neighborhood Association for 13 years. While I've been president of the Neighborhood Association, I actually have got the banners installed on Lincoln Way. I don't know if anybody's ever seen those. For the longest time, I was told, no, 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 you can't have a banner in the city of Massillon, even though I keep seeing the banners drawn across Lincoln Way week after week after week. I got that changed from the zoning commission to now over the neighborhood associations, which I know there's a couple around here that have also bought banners so they can display that they're proud of their neighborhood. I'm proud of my neighborhood. I've also installed trash cans in my neighborhood to help out with the trash problem. I'm very close to Lincoln Way. There's a lot of cut through. There's a lot of fast food trash. It's helped out a lot. It's helped out with dog walkers so they'll clean up after their pets as they're coming through the neighborhood. I've also installed the signpost. The Walden Neighborhood Association is the oldest neighborhood association in Massillon, and we have ornamental street stop signposts. I've accrued the grant money to be able to do the whole neighborhood in those, where a lot of those things are, it's my time. It's my time for doing them. It's my time for cleanup days. I'm the one who's in a dumpster, you know, arranging the dumpster so other people can use it. We just had a cleanup day. I'm the one who calls for that. I'm the one who's picking up the trash. I'm the one who's rearranging the dumpster, taking items out of there so other people can fulfill, you know, a full dumpster and put stuff that shouldn't be recycled in there. I'm also on the Historic Preservation Commission for the city of Massillon, just like Mandy. I do have a lot of pride in preservation. I live in an old home. I love my old home, and that's the reason why I live in the city of Massillon. I voted no on the Walgreens. I believe Mandy also voted no on the Walgreens because I believe we need a viable downtown. I believe that we need to have green space in downtown. People need a place to be able to gather in downtown so they can enjoy downtown. You know, a lot of cities, you know, a little bit more progressive and, you know, have those areas, and I think our city can do that. I mean, you need to have downtown living. You need to have downtown businesses down there and people that are actually want to be down there and enjoy the downtown. So I voted no on that. I voted no to erect another sign for one of the businesses in downtown because it's not part of the preservation of downtown Massillon. So I'm not afraid to say no if I believe it's a no. Once again, I'm Robin Bloom, running for city council.
And our next candidate for councilman at large, Paul Manson.
Thank you. My name name's Paul Manson. I've been a councilman at large now. I'm in my 12th year. Prior to that, I worked at Republic Steel, and then I worked at the Hoover Company for over 32 years and retired from there. I was a full-time union official for a period of time when I was there. I started serving the city of Madison in a lot of ways. I believe in being involved like these people here. I started out with Little League Baseball, YBL basketball, and all that stuff, all the way up through with my son. And after I retired from Hoover, well, I still retired working at Hoover, I was asked if I would serve on the planning commission. And that's really the thing that I probably enjoy the most in council, is part of planning and development. Even back in the late 1990s, I was attending meetings at the old Capitol Landings up there, and we were trying to come up with ideas for Republic Steel prior to Republic Steel being finally auctioned off and cleared and developed. The first year I ran, did questionnaires in the newspaper and stuff like that, and my priority was at that time to see the Republic Steel brownfield redeveloped, and we are getting there now. Over the years, I've worked with people. We approved like environmental studies of Republic Steel. One time, the one was for $500,000. It was funded by the state and the owners. And then maybe a year later, then there was $1 million study made on the environment. And eventually now then we have started to get some business in there, lots of pipe and everything. When the pipeline's gone, I imagine that will start shrinking down a little bit, the size of what's going on there. But we will have a lot of developable land that will be utilized, I believe, in the not too distant future. What the oil has done to this area of the country is, it's really great. I was a tool and die maker, so I understand business and manufacturing. We were top-weighted, overweighted in manufacturing jobs in this area, and when things started coming unraveled in this country in the early 2000s, Ohio and North Carolina were the two biggest losers as far as manufacturing jobs. So I understand that. I know how important that is to people that do not attend college. Some of them that attend college. There are many college people that are in manufacturing, but it's also been a blue-collar job over the years. And we need it. We need to bring more manufacturing back, and we are bringing manufacturing back to this country. You can go up to National Feeds Group. National Feeds Group is doing work for Chinese people, Chinese companies. So that's the thing I like most. When I first got on council, we were stalled on the Great Escapes Theater. I went around and discussed that with all of the merchants and property owners in that area, and got that kind of smoothed out and moved, and I was recognized in the newspaper for my contribution to getting that here. Theater, not a big deal, but it's a great form of entertainment down there. It's great for our community, it's great for our kids. I'm proud of those kinds of things. Those are the kinds of things I like to be involved in. I served on highways, I served on finance for 4 years. I was one of the people that was alerting us in even 2006 to our declining, well, it wasn't necessarily declining revenue, but we had expenses growing faster than what our revenue was growing. We're going to put the income tax issue on the ballot next spring. I know people don't like taxes, but also there's sometimes you have to periodically adjust. And that's what we are looking at here. We have a city that's pretty good. Ed talks about, the improvement in the city and stuff like that. Our bottom line, make our bottom line black. We've avoided a lot of spending that should have been going to infrastructure in our town. We still have many streets that are a mess. We have catch basins that are safety hazard. We need to take care of these things. We need more revenue. We need a combination of both wise spending and revenue increases. And I have not been afraid to talk about that stuff task. This past 2 years, I have been helping to lead council to try to come to some agreement on the fiscal emergency that we're in. And we finally got around to the point where we have the administration on board. And I do believe that this thing has a very good opportunity to pass next March, now that we have everybody starting to get on the same page and thinking about this. So, I hope you remember my name. I have some pads and stuff over there. I'm always willing to talk. And I am a lifelong resident of Massillon. I worked at Republic Steel. I know what that stuff was like. I know what we lost. You know, one time down here we had 10,000 jobs.
30-second warning.
Okay, so I know how important it is we bring things back, and we are bringing things back in the city, but I would like to see it stepped up. You know, we didn't have a big box as far as like Penny's and Sears, they all left town. Now we have Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, Menards, Target, and I can go on and on. Massillon's done a much better job than a lot of people give us credit for. Thank you.
All right, we're now up to our Ward 4 candidate. So first, I'd like to start off with Jill Creamer. Thank you.
It is Jill Creamer, yes it is. Hi, good evening. I'm Jill Creamer. I'm running for your Ward 4 Council. I was not born in Massillon or raised in Massillon. My husband of 23 years, Matt, was offered a teaching and coaching job here at Massillon, Washington High School. So we moved here in 1996 when he accepted that position. And we've been here ever since. We chose to live in Massillon. We did not choose to live in Jackson. We did not choose to live in North Canton. We chose to live in Massillon and raise our family. And we have 2 sons that are growing up here in Massillon. One is off to college, the other one's still here in Massillon. I was born in Warren, Ohio, raised in Miami, Ohio. My father worked in steel mill all his life. He farmed 100 acres. My mom was a homemaker, and I'm one out of 8 children. So we worked during school, after school. I worked through college, and by working throughout my life, I know what hard work is, and dedication is, and passion. And that's what I have, and that's what I want to bring to Ward 4. I am not afraid to go up to people, talk to people, understand their needs, listen to them, which I've been hearing a lot of. I've been going door to door since April, and I'm starting back up now. And I'm hearing the needs of this community and of this ward. I've already placed a light on the corner of 16th and Gibson. Sheila and Marion Perkins communicated to me in April that the light was out and it's been out for months. It's now replaced. I've been hearing information about Coolidge, which is off Southway, since Rushmark has expanded. I'm talking to Nancy Halter, trying to see what we can do regarding that expansion. Those citizens of Ward 4 now have business a parking lot in their backyards without any buffers. So that is my job. I will dedicate what I can to Ward 4 to listen to the citizens. I am currently a full-time laboratory director at Alton Hospital. I am a medical technologist, which is another word for a clinical laboratory scientist. I base my decisions on data and facts. That is who I am. So I use that experience, I use that critical skill, thinking, and knowledge to make decisions, and I will use that as your Ward 4 council. What else can I say? I've lost my words. So, with that said, I think I've said enough. With that said, I hope to meet you when I am walking door to door in the next few weeks, if I have not met you up until now or this evening. And if you have any concerns, please come up to me, please give me a call, and we can discuss. So I ask for your support on November 3rd. Thank you.
And our next candidate for Ward 4, Eric Spencer.
Hello, everybody. I'm Eric Spencer. I'm born and raised in the 4th Ward. I've been born and raised there since January 22nd, 1976. I'm not running for 4th Ward council for no type of personal gain or anything like that. I have a personal interest in my ward. I have a personal interest for the children, the senior citizens. I've been seeing a lot of talk and not a lot of action. I believe in 3 key things: accountability, communication, and trust. And that's what's been lost in our 4th Ward. I feel that the citizens have been forgot about. You know, look at our streets. I have 3 kids, 18, 13, and 4. They can't even walk out the streets because of the grades. The money's there, but nothing's being done. I mean, we got to start holding our city officials accountable for these positions. Okay, and also we have to stay active in the community, communicate with each other. You know, the neighborhood housing association is the best thing that ever happened on my side of town. It was in the 80s or the 90s. You know, Miss Patches, my mother, all the guys, they get together, they build the basketball parks up here, they put, get the hoops together. They pay for dumpsters, they pay for extra police, they shouldn't have to do that. The money should be there already for our community. I believe that it's not fair. And I'm not going to talk, I will stand by you. I'll voice your concerns and stand by you. That's all I have to say.
And last candidate for Ward 4, Mr. John Gray.
Good evening, thank you all for coming. I appreciate this opportunity to get to speak to all of you. And some of you know me, that I worked for Madison City Schools for 30 years. I was a teacher, I was a building principal, assistant principal at Washington High School, and then I ended up being director of pupil services. I feel during that time frame I provided a good service, whether it be a teacher, fairness as an administrator, and quality services that I provided when I was director of pupil services. That included counseling, nursing, special education services, and that kind of thing. One of the things is I've been walking through the neighborhood, and the difference between me and Joe, she's going to start up now walking and talking to you folks. We've been walking since August. So, I think I have a pretty good understanding. I think if you're waiting the last few weeks, you're doing a cram job of trying to understand what people need. One of the things that I want to bring up, because it's been brought up to me frequently as we're going door to door, is yes, I do live on the golf course. And I know that's a topic that a lot of people do not like to talk about. Jill also lives on the golf course. We live in 2 different allotments though. Okay, so, we are from that side of the border. My allotment touches Walnut Hills. I can look out my bedroom window and I see the rooftop of Walnut Hills. So, I had no fear of moving into this part of Madison or Madison Law when we built our home. We had friends at our church who, one of them approached my wife one day and said, "Where are you moving in Jackson?" And she said, "We're not, we're building in Madison." And the person did this and walked away. That's why we didn't move into Jackson, because people in Madison never read it that way. The previous mayor frequently has said adding in the last 9 holes to the golf course was a mistake. Okay, that's on the table. And the only reason I bring this up is when people keep asking me this, they keep saying, "Well, you're only worried about the golf course." No, I'm not. We need to deal with the debt that we have from that course, and the best way to do it is make it profitable, of course, so if we ever have to close it, we have something to gain from it, to pay the debt. If we have to close part of it or sell part of it, it's there. There's a flawed group, which is now helping raise money to make improvements to the course and make it more presentable. So, that may be a topic a lot of people don't want to hear. Some people may want to hear it even less, but, I'm not going to hide from that fact, okay? Because that has been divisive for the city and it's been divisive for this board. One of the differences is, I believe in representing this whole board. I'm not going to be a one-issue candidate. I'm not just going to say I'm only worried about the golf course. I'm worried about our streets, our safety forces, vacant homes, abandoned homes, lots that are not being mowed, streets, gradings. Some of the accomplishments I've had just in the last couple of months, had some lights replaced for people that they weren't working. There was a 10-year problem with a sidewalk and a driveway entrance that was damaged by city trucks. Neighbors have complained for years. A builder in the area complained, nothing got done. I worked with the Larry Marcus in the mayor's office, and that got accomplished. They replaced it just recently. So that was a safety issue for that area for the kids. I also have worked with an individual in a different part of lower Fourth Ward that had a grating and a hole in their sidewalk or their street that was about 9 feet wide, and it was damaged because of a water main break 4 or 5 years ago, and nothing has ever been done. When she's called the city, they just say, no money, you have to wait, too bad. So I then talked to the safety service director and the mayor, and they went out, they straightened the grate, they put a steel plate over the hole, and now the little kids who are driving down the street don't have to worry about falling in. When the residents showed it to me, I went, wow, you can't see the bottom. The barricade that had been put up was into the bottom of the grate, or the hole. That's not acceptable. So if I was able to do that in a few months as just a candidate, I think I could do a lot for the city as a councilman. I've also believed in this community. We chose to move here, and I'm certainly glad that we did. My mom was born here, my grandparents lived here, my great-great-grandfather was the first marshal of Massillon, and my great-grandfather did some of the carvings at St. Mary's. So I do have a connection to this community. My grandma used to tutor Paul Brown in Latin. She said he may have known football, but he didn't know Latin. So, you know, we can all say we have lots of goals and promises. I'm not promising anything, because the problem with promises is the minute I don't keep it, I'm a liar. But all I'm going to do is say to you, I promise that I will work the hardest in accomplishing goals that I have over there of streets and safety forces and communication with the residents here. I'm not afraid to walk around the neighborhoods. These neighborhoods remind me what my grandparents lived in, both sets of grandparents, and I feel very comfortable. The other night when we were walking the streets at 7:30, I said to my wife, you know, this reminds me of the good old days when I was a kid, and I was at my grandma's house. You know, you heard birds chirping, and you heard a little bit of traffic, you heard the kids out playing, and it was very enjoyable. One lady, I sat in her porch for a few minutes and said, boy, this is my learning. Boy, that's time. My phone, turn it off. I just received an endorsement from the Hall of Fame Labor Council, the LCIO, and which many of you know, they don't normally endorse Republicans. Last 2 weeks ago, I also went to a networking thing that was sponsored by the small business community, Small Minority Business Association, Stark County coming together, and the NAACP. All the candidates in Massillon, again, turn it off. All the candidates in Massillon were invited, and I was the only person from Massillon who went. It was nice to network with all those different people and to hear problems that are in Canton and Massillon, and a lot of great people. Now, it kind of wrap this up since I was told. All my Democratic friends say that I'm a Republican, and all my Republican friends say that I'm a Democrat. And what that tells me is I'm just somebody who does what's right. I don't vote straight party either way. Okay? Some people told me if I'm elected, I have to follow the party line. No, I don't. I have to vote and do what's right for this world, and then I have to vote and do what's right for the city. I believe you have to be bipartisan. I didn't solicit any help from any of the mayoral candidates. I didn't take any donations from them. I don't have any signs up in my yard. I don't have any of them donate to my fundraisers as other opponents have. I don't have one of the mayoral candidates signed in my yard. Because I think to be bipartisan, those people don't need to know how I vote. I have to work with them somewhere down the line, and they need to know that I'm willing to work however it be. The last thing I want to say on that is, when you go to vote on November the 3rd, I hope you vote for the person who's going to do the best job for you. I want to be in the neighborhoods. I've been in it for 3.5 months now. I've listened to people. I'm glad to be there. I have a crew that goes out with me all the time, and when they hit one neighborhood 1 week, I hit it the next week. So that we're covered. But I want to tell you something. I know a lot of people, if my dad was that way, my mom was that way. My dad only voted Democrat, and my mom only voted Republican, and that's the way they work. So maybe that's why I grew up in a split house. But I have been a registered Democrat all of my life. I'm still a registered Democrat. I'm still a registered Democrat. I'm running as a Republican because there are differences between Jill and I think you need that choice. I don't keep flip-flopping my party affiliation every few years. So please, in November, I hope you vote for me. I have some literature over here. Enjoy the cookies and refreshments, if that's part of my time. Enjoy the cookies and the refreshments. Oh, last thing, this is me. One of the homeowners that I talked to, David Joyner, said that people were confused about where they were voting now, since some of it, frankly, school wasn't available. There's word for word information over here where you can go for your polling locations and maps if you need to see where your street, which ward you fall in. So now, that's enough. Thank you very much.
Yes, that was my job. All right, we're at the point now where questions from the audience. Can I ask